like this. Hey, okay. Messages I'm receiving got a nigga cheesing, I'm good, ho. Feeling myself before I even rolled up the wood, though. Crush it and crush it, clutch it and puff it. I'm chillin', I'm like the illest thing, you can't admit it. Hey, messages I'm receiving got a nigga cheesing, I'm good, ho. Feeling myself before I even rolled up the wood, though. Crush it and crush it, clutch it and puff it. And I'm like the illest, I'm with it, you can't admit it. I like to rock in it, baby, for a minute while I'm in it. I just wanna know if you really do what you said it. We can run it. Give you something to do, making moves. I got so much motion, I feel like the moon. But that's you, I know how you feel. I know this is real, tell the truth. Is you down a bill, bring the fucking wheels rolling through. I ain't stop for shit, why would I take me a pic when life is a movie? I got shorty groove, majestic movements, how I do it, I don't know. It's just the magic on the low. When the money was cold, you was still rowing the boat with me. Hopefully you just grow with me, holding me up with nobody. Me, I had your back, you know that in fact it's still happening happily. Messages I'm receiving got the cheese and I'm good, ho. Feeling myself before I even rolled up the wood, though. Crush it and crush it, clutch it and puff it. I'm chillin', I'm like the illest, I'm with it, you can't admit it. Messages I'm receiving got a nigga cheese and I'm good, ho. Feeling myself before I even up the wood, though. Crush it and crush it, clutch it and puff it. I'm chillin', I'm like the illest, I'm with it, you can't admit it. I like to rock in it, baby, for a minute while I'm in it. I don't know if you really do what you said it. You do, we should rendezvous, give you something to do, making moves. I got so much motion, I feel like the moon, but that's you. Yeah, I trust you with my heart. I had to take this world apart. The way this shit made me so mad, and other times it made me sad. Gotta change fast. I don't mind if you got time. I'ma make your ass mine. Promise that I'm blowing the mind. Yeah, been in the spine, ay, sipping the wine, really too fine to be fucking with niggas who ain't aligned. Oh no, hell no, baby, say it ain't so. I was finna throw a fit until my phone just glow. Ay, messages I'm receiving got a nigga cheesing, I'm good, ho. Feeling myself before I even rolled up the wood, though. Crush it and crush it, clutch it and puff it. I'm chillin', I'm like the illest, I'm with it, you can't admit it. Ay, messages I'm receiving got a nigga cheesing, I'm good, ho. Feeling myself before I even rolled up the wood, though. Crush it and clutch it and puff it. I'm chillin', I'm like the illest, I'm with it, you can't admit it. I like to rock in it, baby, for a minute while I'm in it. I just wanna know if you really do what you said to do. We should rendezvous, give you something to do, making moves. I got so much motion, I feel like moon, but that's you.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Dave B. You're watching Down TV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? And it's the first of the month. Bone Thursday, boy. So, first of all, when it comes to September, this is basically going to be about September as an overview, just understanding, well, talking about the new moon, but also just understanding what September gonna look like, because a lot is going on in September. And I'll put in the title Cleaning Closets, because basically this is the cleanup. Virgo season is always the cleanup. Virgo is about getting things straight. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sense out of this shit, because there's too much going on and not really, you know, and the thing about it is it's a mutable energy, right? So that being said, it being a mutable energy means that it's gonna be chaotic. You know what I'm saying? What's good? It's gonna be chaotic. He said, "Let me." Shout out to you, bro. It's gonna be chaotic. It's a mutable energy. Things is all over the place. But you know, the thing about it is, whenever we're going through transits, the point of going through transits like that. Shout out to Jessica. What's up? The point of going through transits like this is we have to take advantage of. It's like kind of like how I be saying when cancer come around, right? Everybody's sensitive, but the whole goal is not to sit in that sensitivity, is to actually do what the cancer energy needs you to do, which is be cardinal and change how you feel, get more comfortable, even though everything might feel uncomfortable. So in Virgo, it's going to feel like everything is chaotic, but the point is to take advantage, do what Virgo needs you to do. Start to be mutable, start to adapt and change and be more flexible when it comes to what makes sense, and be willing to fix and adjust things accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're too worried and concerned about what's on your mind, like again, how we talk about astrology entirely, it's a tool. So it's not the end all be all. You got to remember that when you catch certain vibrations and you get hit with energies, the thing is, don't just sit in nature. The point is to you to become the master of that nature. If you in Virgo season, you need to do as Virgo does. So it's like, you know, the whole do as the Romans do and shit like that. Yeah, we not doing what the Romans do, but you get the concept. The concept is it's bigger than just talking about Romans. It's about anytime you going through different, it's like it could be a metaphor for transits. When you in certain transits, you need to do as that transit do so you can ride the wave efficiently and not get caught up. And you get caught up in it, it's because you're too much inside the nature of whatever energy we're going through, instead of realizing you are above all these natures and you have the power to use and manipulate things as tools as we supposed to do. So during Virgo season, yeah, you're gonna feel stressed. You're gonna feel like nothing is making sense. You're gonna feel like everything is chaotic. But the point is for you to overcome that nature and start to put things in place how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Utilizing the energy at hand. If you don't, you're just gonna feel like you're drowning. You know what I'm saying? Even if you in a hole, you find yourself in a hole or, you know, falling behind on something. It's like, look, the point of it is to understand, to first of all recognize what situation you in. Don't just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to Arda in the building. Yes sir, yes sir. So it's not about just crying about the situation you in, or getting so overwhelmed by it, even though, again, I understand, you know what I'm saying, it'd be like that. But the point is, at some point you have to snap out of it and put things into perspective. You know what I'm saying? You said, I have a serious question. Someone told me my friend has an unreadable aura. What does this mean? Shout out to bearing outward. So when somebody has an unreadable aura, all it means, because see, first of all, you have to understand what aura is. Aura is just the inner body emits. So an aura is created based upon what a person's mind and feelings be on for the majority of the time. So let's say a person is in a certain space where they it's like, you ever been around somebody and you pick up like, I don't know what it is, this person isn't showing me signs of not being truthful, but for some reason I feel like they're hiding something. A lot of times you can pick up energies based upon what other people be on in their own time. So that person, right, might not necessarily be the shady things or hiding things, but because of how they do other things in their life, it comes off that way. And sometimes you got to keep in mind, when it comes to an aura, there's two things: what a person's mind and heart be on when nobody's around behind closed doors, and there's the person receiving that information and what their mind be on. Because just because you pick up an energy off of somebody doesn't mean that you're right about what you're picking up on, based upon what you're going through and what that person is dealing with in their own life, because they went through a time in which they feel like they can't trust nobody. So somebody could just be really invested into their passions and creativity behind closed doors, but don't really express it yet. They're working on it, right? But you come around this person is because you as an individual are through a time where you feel like, you know, maybe somebody just lied to you, or you got some information that made you feel a certain way. So you low-key in a space of you looking at everybody like something. What's going to happen is this person come around with a certain energy aura, you're going to get up, but that friend might be misinterpreting what they're picking up at the, you know, in the first place. But when they say unreadable aura, they probably just mean that they're trying to figure them out, but they can't quite pinpoint what it is. And see, where the best form, when you're dealing with shit like this is why communication is so important. Because if one doesn't choose to communicate, you can't really essence of what it is that's going on. Also actions, paying attention to a person's actual actions instead of just assuming that you know what they in based upon what you feeling, because feelings lead you astray. And chances are, like, especially if you got like water sign energy or Pisces, Cancer, get you in trouble, because you be wrong. You be dead wrong a lot of times, because we don't know what's going on in people's lives until we communicate with them or observe their actions. So, you know, quick judgment always lead to kind of weird situations between people where there's a extreme, it's hard to connect after you've made a judgment about somebody, but didn't give them to show you where they at. You know what I'm saying? You say, I think they might have trust issues. This is my good friend. He a little worried, but he's good people. So, you know, again, like, so when she said, you said, my friend has a, so if you know that person on a personal level, right, chances are you spend enough time observing them and communicating with them to understand maybe their natures. And again, they might have certain energy elements that make it to where they're not so comfortable exposing maybe everything that they think or you know what I'm saying, think about and do behind closed doors. So you know that person, you know what I'm saying, then and again, like you have trust issues, so they're probably in a space in their own time where they don't feel like sharing all and everything. So, you know, say sometimes you got to respect people's boundaries on that. You know, I get, like, you know what I'm saying, if you're trying to determine, you know what I'm saying, like somebody told you they have an unreadable aura, all aura is us just picking up what somebody be thinking and feeling about on their own time. So, you know, take with that what you can, like, you know, take all that with what somebody might judge somebody as, take it with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? You got eyes, you can observe, and you see actions. So based upon the actions and communication you actually able to have with that person, that'll give you all the real information you need to know. See, a lot of times people think they need to know about others because a lot of times people live in fear. Like, everything in this world is based upon needing a desire to know what's going to happen next, to protect and preserve oneself. So, you know, a lot of times you got to be aware of that. Like, in this world, a lot of people, if you think just the esoterically, it's been so many things that have gone on in this world. So many people have been in different circumstances and came back to certain familiar spaces. Like, I'm not trying to get too far off, but talking about, like, you know, you never know what a person's been through. And I mean that on a spiritual level. So as a spirit, they could have been in previous lifetimes and had certain things that they was dealing with that now in this present time makes it even harder to connect. We all have certain things that we brought from us and certain things that we're dealing with that nobody knows. So a lot of times those things get in the way of genuine connection based upon everybody low-key being hyper paranoid. You know what I'm saying? Everybody kind of feeling it. And part of healing that part is you getting to know yourself more and gaining more confidence based upon you expressing your true self and dealing with the ways of really knowing what's going to happen next. Like, when I put myself out there, what might happen next? Or if somebody is not telling me the things that make me comfortable, what's going to happen next? So people get really good at reading people and calculating things, and that's all fine and dandy because, you know, when we talk about concepts of spiritual warfare, that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? People, somebody could wake up tomorrow and betray you. So you got to be, you know, that's a real thing. We have to balance that. We have to do it in moderation, where we don't set ourselves up to basically, you know, like, be a self-fulfilling prophecy, in the sense of, again, if you in a space where, or your friend is either, I can't trust no one, that can easily become their reality based upon perception. And then ironically, what you manifest is people who see you in that space, because you are what you embody. Like, you, whenever whatever's on your mind and heart for an extended period of time starts to become not only your aura, it's inside out, it's macro. So it becomes your aura, but it also starts to become your perception and your attitude, and that turns into your actions. How you go about things is determined by perception and your attitude about it. So that's why they, you know, you are what you eat, in a sense, you know, and all those thoughts and feelings are what, you know, you as a spirit. And so it starts to play out physically as what you look like. You are what you eat. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about food. It's not talking about food at all, but people, you know what I'm saying? But for the sake of what we're talking about, that's why you have to be aware of kind of even, you know, the space, and even when you're trying to perceive somebody else. And then it gets even deeper in relationships, because one of the biggest factors of a relationship, and whether or not, like, in, when I say that, again, it could be romantic, it could be platonic, friendship, it can be business, all different kinds of relationships, all forms of relation. When you're in those spaces, right, where you think about your, like, how you think about the person you're relating to matters immensely. Because if you think about the person that you're trying to relate to, and what the field is, if you think about them and feel about them in a certain way, you behave towards them a certain way. And ironically, they will start to see you as the thing you see them as. So, and that's how the mirror effect works. Picture this: you in a relationship with somebody, right? And they always think you up to something. So you start acting in a way in which you think they up to something. So that's you being extra, you know, maybe particular. You're moving around them in certain ways. You're asking certain questions. See, in a lot of cases, right, there's some cases where you might be right, but a lot of times, like I said before, self-fulfilling prophecy, you behaving in that way, it has a cause and effect. Everything has a consequence. So by behaving that way, what happens is spiritually they pick up on you being untrue to yourself, acting in a way that's not really you, because your actions are being determined based upon your perception and your attitude. And if it's not aligned with who you truly are, we get people playing mind games, because it's like the other person's going to pick up on, okay, there's an angle here, something they're going to start to feel about you, how you probably feel and think about them. Just that's like a natural aura thing. That, like, if we talking about aura, that's going aura for aura. That's that, like, this is how people get into tick for tat matches unknowingly. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a person to kind of be aware of that, to stop it by putting in different thoughts and feelings in the mix to kind of create a leveling out of what's going on. See, like, if you got two unaware spirits, this is what happens. So that your actions start to influence them. And see, this is how even the saying, when they say come what you hate. You know what I'm saying? You eventually, they say, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like those types of concepts become like, it comes energy like this, because if you spend so much time behaving in a way based upon how you feel, thinking, and perceiving something, you become that. You embody that. That's why the best way to go about things is to just be yourself, and regardless of how vulnerable that makes you feel. Because the more you just do things, this builds confidence even on a spiritual level and strength, because you are basically having the faith and belief in yourself to be who you are, regardless of how that's responded to. So what you get out of it is, yeah, you might get vulnerable situations, but you get way more genuine connections and experiences out of it, because the things you start to manifest are things that are made for you, because you are your thoughts and feelings. You embody that. You are what you deserve, aka you, whatever space you in, you embody that, and you're a testament of that. So if you in certain energies of, this is why being too conscious can become a bad thing, because you're too aware of others to the point where you're still not being yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is why you have to have a balance of kind of that subconscious awareness, but also apply that to a conscious awareness, so that you don't just become a fool, or, you know, let responsibilities get out of hand and do things that, again, it all comes down to the energy and space you in. Because regardless, you might think you're protecting yourself based upon trying to assume what somebody is up to or be strategic, but you don't realize that over time, if that starts to become your true perspective, your perception, and your attitude, then you embody that energy of maneuvering around somebody else's energy. So they start maneuvering around you, because it's like an unspeakable thing, but it's very, you know what I'm saying, it gets so deep. Shout out to Saturated Love and Tarot. Shout out to Mutable God, man. Shout out to you too, bro. Much love to everybody who's sliding through. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate everyone hitting likes, hitting the you know, subscribe and all that good stuff. Because also, on a personal note, when it comes to this channel, we going through an upgrade right now. We doing a whole total upgrade. It's not really a rebrand, because the brand is still the same, but we just polishing everything. So a lot of new service is going to be available, website getting polished, everything, you know, video is going to start looking a little different. We're still going to do these live streams and get it, you know what I'm saying, do the raw and uncut, but also I'm going to start incorporating some other things, because, you know, and this is me telling my personal is also giving insight to what September got to look like, and what I even mean by the title, Cleaning the Closet, the new moon in Virgo, what it all means. It's like we need to start taking everything a lot more seriously. I mean, and what I mean by that, and when I say take things seriously, I don't necessarily mean like, you know, you have to take the fun out of things. Things can still be fun, but you can take fun seriously, aka you know what you're doing with your time and your, like I said in the last live stream, your time and your energy and your what was the last one? It was in your actual maybe physical material resources. So that could look like money, but it also could look like friendships and people you spend time with, or things that you do to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like whether you read books, or whether you just do a lot of research online, watch YouTube videos, those types of things. We need to be very aware of how we go about these things, because it all needs to be for a purpose. Virgo is all about process, so we need to understand processes from the ground to the top. Basically, we need to get into the details, you know what I'm saying, and you can take this as meticulous as you want to get, aka every hour of the day, or every, you know what I'm saying, you can get that deep if you want. But let's say you're not that type of individual, you don't got to get that meticulous about the specific time, but you need to have a general idea of what you do during your day, what you do on a day-to-day basis, and how it relates, or how it either helps you or hinders you from getting to a specific goal. So, you know, it wouldn't even be a bad idea to start to set goals for this month. And even if the sole purpose is to learn how you go about achieving goals, like for instance, you might set some goals, right? Don't get so caught up on whether or not you did it, whether or not you checked it off or not. Pay more attention to the process of how it got there. Because one thing about even energy, and like how I be saying time, right? Time is limited. Energy is limited. So we have to understand, like, how much energy am I really spending, or how much time am I really spending trying to get from this to this? And the more time it take and the slower you going in that process, the more you're going to start to feel burnt out. So it's all about, you know, right now you might have to readjust certain things schedule to make things move faster, and not in the sense of trying to rush yourself, but understanding like, okay, if I'm being honest with myself when it comes to my day-to-day schedule, I spend a little too much time doing this. I spend a little too much energy doing this when this doesn't lead to having more time later, because it's all about efficiency. You know, you don't want to spend a great deal of energy doing something that's not making you a lot of progress. You want to spend energy on something that's actually going to impact the things that matter in that space of reality, responsibility. So that's looking like, you know, bills. For instance, if you do a creative art, right, again, it might feel good to spend hours and hours on one song, but let's be real, those hours you spend on that one song and the energy you spend, that might have been better utilized if it was allocated or allocated if it was spent on doing something that was going to buy you more time later in the day. So if you wake up in the morning and let's say you got to answer to a certain email and there's, you know, something knock out, and have a lot more time later on in the day to do the creative thing or the more fun thing. But instead you spend a great deal of time in the morning doing that creative fun thing, right? So that might feel good, but when it comes down to do the thing that is actually stressing you out, not only do you have less time, chances are if you save that stressful thing for later, you probably spend your whole creative time low-key stressing that thing you know is a responsibility, or know it has to get done, or know needs to be in a high priority in your list. So it's like you have to kind of understand how you maneuver around certain things like that. You have to be a lot more realistic, you know, a lot more thick, and the details is more than just information. The details is the operation of things, like the nuance of how things lead to another. Like that's what Virgos are masters of. This led to this, which led to this, and gave this result. You have to understand the in between. That's why it's a mutable earth sign. It's about the the transition or the transformation, the transfer of energy between one to a next. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be very, you know, that's type of things that we need to take, be aware of. Now, when it comes to, so right now we in the first, you know, tomorrow, you know, that's when the new moon actually hits. So I think the moon's still in Leo too right now. So when it comes to this, right now it's just the setup. You know, we going through waning period, the last little bit of the waning period. So right now it's like we have to really put ourselves in space to be prepared for what we about to like really commit to whatever it is that you're working on. It's got to be a commitment thing. It's got to be something that you want and you're willing to be disciplined about. Even if you fall short at times, you're disciplined and committed and devoted to getting something done. That's the thing. Like even how we talk about the Virgo constellation, Virgin Mary, and type of theology behind that. Not to go too deep into that, but the whole idea is that about kind of energy to be of service to something. So you want to look at it like you're being of service to yourself by taking things and being more realistic about it, more calculated about how you go about it, right? And then a lot of this energy is opposite of Saturn. So what seemed like, again, the reality you want, it's like you're at odds with it. But instead of fighting against it, aka creating scenarios to try to escape from it, we need to lean into it. We need to start making it, start accomplishing, creating our lifestyle now to start to welcome and make space for what we want as a reality that we feel as though we don't have to escape from. A lot of people are going to be just choosing the escapism route. So this could lead them to just completely ignoring certain things that they know need to be addressed or taken care of. You know what I'm saying? Completely just ignoring it for being in some kind of fabricated reality because that feels better. Other than what we're supposed to be doing, which is just look at reality as what it is. You are not where you want to be at. That is the truth. That is the reality of the situation. So there needs to be adjustments and changes made. And if you don't commit to those things, you will not get the result you want, period. You can lie to yourself all you want, but if you do not change, you will not get new results. And again, notice change, results. What's insanity? Doing the same thing and getting the wrong result. So insanity is going to lead you right to that Pisces straitjacket ass energy where you're going to feel like at the end of this shit, oh, I'm really in the hole. I'm really lost. I really didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I really wasted time. You know what I'm saying? So don't set yourself up for an esoteric ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get an esoteric ass whooping. And what I mean by that is you whooping your own ass because you know damn what, like why I ain't do what I know I was supposed to do. I knew I was supposed to change. Why I ain't changed? I knew I was supposed to take that shit serious. Why I ain't take it serious? And it's you whooping your own ass. You can blame it on God or some kind of external figure, but low key it's your own thoughts and feelings whooping your ass because you know damn well you wasn't doing what the energy was telling you to do. So you have to be aware of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all Sun. You're right. And look, I'm a Pisces too, so I cringe a little bit too when I say straight jacket, but it's true. You know, even like when we was talking in the big live, like when it comes to what you pick up and sense and stuff, like if you go touch off of that without, it's like being in reality, it's like that it's a delusion, because that's the thing about us here, it's in bodies. Everything, how they say life is but a dream, like that's some real shit. So everyone's in their own world, but see, we in a world where we're learning to be aware of other spaces and shit like that. So you gotta get out of that own world every now and then and and that's like the other step. When you first get on your spiritual path, it's all about deep spirituality, which is like individuality, going within. But people go within, and like in this age, we see a lot of people within and never came back out. And it's like right now is that next phase, that next shift. To be a spiritual adult, you have to you have to come back out and show what you know. So everybody, like, even this is a bit like since 20 I want to say 2021, this has been everybody's internal showing. Like before 2020, everybody was really just deeply, like when it comes to spirituality and everybody in general in the world, it was like the mentality or something like that, the shift, the age we was in was being deeply internal. Even though we was doing external things, a lot of people was fake smiling, and their defense, and to all of our defense, because we was all in situations pre-2020 that we wasn't even aware that we wasn't necessarily externalizing what's going on inside, and what we learned inside became what saved us from getting lost in the mix come 2020, come post 2020. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone who got kind of lost in themselves, we see it. People just completely into themselves, to the point where everybody now is like thinks they a content creator and is online and talking shit like they know everything. And we see a lot of people get embarrassed, get canceled, get themselves in situations based upon them not being skilled in being, you know, it's like everybody's internal world is out externally for everyone to see. So if you didn't clean that up and you didn't get that right, and then really right is just you being aware of who you are on an internal level, we see a lot of people make those mistakes now. So in post 2020, now in 2024, this is we're seeing more and more of what people are made of. What you were spending all that time internally in, and what's really inside is now coming out, and there's no way to hide it, right? Even when we talk about things like being in the sixth dimension and shit like that. Shout out to Jackie New in the building. When we talk about being in the sixth dimension, what is the sixth dimension? Sixth dimension is the 4 and the 5. The 4 and the 5, 4 is more masculine, right? But it's still a thought. 5 is feminine, which is a double internal. I feel about that. But 6 is the expression of both of those things coming together. So we done been left the third dimension. A lot of people was spending that 4 and 5th dimensional race, tapping into who they was. So what came out in the 6th, now that we see it, everything is clear as day. You ain't on shit. And see, the thing is, people who ain't shit still in positions of celebrity and power, but it's not no real power. We see it now. That celebrity ain't got no real power. They're a puppet. They get dressed by somebody. They get told what to do, what to say, what to create. That motherfucker ain't free. They in jail. And see, but they still got the money to make it look free. And that's how they finesse people. Oh, the money make it look like they living the life that they want to live. Make it look like they on a yacht and shit. Like, oh, and it gets the people who, I don't want to say lesser spirits. I just say less aware spirits. It gets them caught up because they start to develop delusions based upon what they're seeing and what it looks like and how, I desire that. I can't wait. I hate my job. And it's like, slow the fuck down. You don't know what the fuck they had to do to get that money. That boy on that yacht because he was, you know what I'm saying, like try to keep it cool. But that boy on that yacht because he had to do something strange for that change. That girl on that yacht because she ain't giving herself a break, if y'all know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? She on that yacht, she Instagramming all over the world because she got some deep rooted. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? And it's not everybody, but we see the difference. The people, again, what's next? You got to ask people who feel as though, and I'm not talking down on ended up in situations, because everybody got their reasons, but you got to ask, okay, you got your BBL, what's next? What's next? Okay, wilding on TikTok, like what's next? You know what I'm saying? You got an OnlyFans. What's next though? What was you trying to do with that? You got a lot of people now depressed as fuck of what women like the hot thing to do back in 2020. Again, they got y'all. They got them, I'll say. Because y'all people on my channel, I think I have more people on my channel who peep game and know what's going on. And even the ones who don't, I see that y'all more comfortable sitting back just learning, which is dope. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everybody who's sliding through. But y'all know what we doing over here. We building, we making movements. We not sitting around dealing with all the rigmarole and all the bullshit and all that stuff over there. That's what they chose to do. People, you know what I'm saying? And again, we all make mistakes and we all do different things. And I'm speaking with authority now, but that's not because I'm perfect. It's because I've been through shit. I know what I'm talking about. Now, when we talk about this phase that we going in, right, it's like when we like 9 degrees, the sun is 9 degrees Virgo. So what was I saying in that last live stream? The second decan of Virgo, after we hit 10 degrees, right? Or yeah, after we hit 10 degrees, right? Every 10 degrees, we hit a new decan. This decan of Virgo is Capricorn. That's why it's so important to be more serious. This is a more Saturnian version of Virgo. So this needs to be Virgo who is done worrying, now is ready for action. Rather, okay, let me start putting this into place. When you start going, when you at work, it's about putting your head down. You know the plan, you know the blueprint. Now, like, act like you know it. Don't keep acting like you don't know what's going on. Don't keep acting like you, oh, I'm just know what to. You have to switch that. Even if you still feel fearful and you're unsure, uncertain about what you got going on, you better pretend. You better feel it. You better start producing thoughts and feelings. Okay, well, I know enough about this and I'll do this. Because all about Virgo is all about step by step anyway. So about trying to get it all done in one night. If anything, it's about breaking it down to say, yeah, I might spend a whole month on this one thing. And that's okay. But what you'll find is that at a certain point, when you give your all to one thing, time moves a lot faster because you're allocating resources at a greater rate, right? And if you prioritize right with the other things you got to do in life, you can actually get a lot ahead than you might have even predicted, right? So the best thing you could do, right? Because sometimes when we try to, let's say in business, right, we try to calculate things. We want to calculate expenses and then try to predict sales so that we know what we got to work with at the end of the month, right? Now, what is the, see, a regular person would do and try to be as precise as possible. A smart person though is gonna give actually a little more leeway. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna predict that they have a little more than they probably do, and they're gonna round up when it comes, or they're gonna round up when it comes to what they think are expenses, and they're gonna round down to what they predict as sales. So at the end of the month, you get what's called a windfall, which is you get unexpected money. Oh, we actually spent a lot less on expenses at the end of the month, and we actually got paid a lot more. We sold a lot more. So we have some extra money that we didn't pick having that we can now use to, and the smart thing to do would be to reinvest into something that is for you. So it's kind of like when you're looking at maybe whatever you got planned for the month, right? You want to look at like, okay, these are my tasks. You kind of want to be realistic to the point where you almost like I said before, you what they call it, it's like you promise but over produce or over I forget the word they use for it, but you know what I'm saying, you don't want to over promise and then under deliver. That's what it is. You want to under promise and over deliver, because it you go after the fact, you know what I'm saying, after it's all said and done, it's a lot more respectable. You don't split up for disappointments and expectations and things like that, right? That's on the external view, but it's an allegory for you. Whatever you got going on in your life, you want to under promise yourself and over deliver to the point where, like I said, I might spend a whole month on one thing, but you're gonna find that as you're doing that one thing, oh shit, okay, I got that done faster than I could. I guess I can jump on to the next thing. And when you get on the next thing you know, some serious progress by the end of the transit. Versus people who might not understand that. They might overcommit to a lot, because see, the new moon gonna give you all this energy like, shit, I could get 10 jobs, I could do this, my schedule's I can do this, I can take every hour of my day and make it productive. They go overboard on productive. You gonna think you gonna think you the like you the think you the man or the woman. You gonna be like, I could take care of all this. You gonna think you Superman. And then you gonna get burnt out, because when you think you can do everything, you lack the awareness to be prioritized. When you think, that's the problem with jack of all trades, right? Because jack of all trades, not bad, you know what I'm saying? It's cool to have multiple bags that you can jump into at any time. But see, the issue is not in you doing too much. It's you lack you lack the ability to prioritize. So being a jack of all trades, you put way more importance on things that might not actually be important in the long run. See, a jack of all trades' worst mistake and where they mess up is that they want to do more of what they like to do instead of doing things, prioritizing properly. So they can spend a whole lot of time doing what's enjoyable and what might has the most return or gratification, you know, because like when you're doing things, right, say you're making music and shit like that. Let's say you make music and you make you paint. It's like you might get a lot more gratification making music, but let's say you actually make a lot more money or get a lot more out of it, the experience. Like you get a lot more business deals and recommended and invitations and into better networking situations as far as regarding your stability when you paint, because you get more gratification out of the music. You might, like an example I was saying, when you wake up in the morning and you spend all this time doing the thing that ain't really getting you ahead, and then you spend a little time of the thing that's actually way more impactful to your circumstances, situation, responsibilities, and what's realistic. So again, it might not fit. It's like you want to, it feels good and gets gratification and maybe even validation. People like, man, you make such great music. I love your art, but you make great music. So you might get, you know, if you, and especially it becomes hard to determine that, because we all have that thing that we love to do, the thing that we are so passionate about. And if you haven't found that thing, it's like, it's always something that, and if you haven't found that thing, that's kind of a different conversation that we, you know, we should have. You know, go ahead, email me at 717conference@gmail.com for a little consultation, because you know, everybody should have that thing that they feel as though might not be their purpose, helps them along their purpose or their spiritual path. It helps them learn more about themselves, and it's something that they feel as though, you know, and it doesn't have to be a creative, like, it's always creative, but it doesn't have to necessarily be making music or doing something associated with fame and status and shit. It's just something you're deeply, you know, connected to on that level, and you would do whether or not it got seen at all. You know what I'm saying? But we all got that one thing that we would rather do. But times like this, it teaches us that everything is not about what you would rather do. Sometimes it's about what is supposed to be done, or what's, you know, what's the best thing to get done at the time, you know. So you have to be aware of that. You have to be, this is part of being mature as a spirit, but even as an individual. It's like, let's say you're a younger individual watching this type of stuff, you know, this is in, like, again, you still have time, you still got your youth and shit like that, and you might not even understand a lot of these concepts to the degree in which I'm explaining them. But let that just rule of thumb for you. It's like, at a certain point, as you grow older, you understand, because as you grow older, you don't have the energy for everything. You realize, damn, I don't. When we was 15, 16, bro, I could all day. These days, nigga, I need one meal. Unless I want to be like feeling like, damn, I'm huge, like I feel expanded and like slow and sluggish and drained and shit like that, needing a fucking, like, nowadays, nah, let me slow the fuck. I need one meal, you know, one meal and a few snacks, and I need to make sure 2 out of those 3 snacks is some fruit or some shit, like, and that's me, you know, going overboard, because not everybody got that. But I'm just saying, like, it's all about understanding, like, that's part of maturing, is prioritizing. Like, you ain't, and again, that goes back to even Saturn. Around your Saturn return, learn that lesson. It's a big old, it's a brick that fall on you. There's like, prioritize. You do not have all the time in the world. People that you thought people that you like, how they say that it's a funny ass shit where they be like, it's people outside dying that never died before. But it's like it's some goofy shit, but it's some real when you think about it. Cause as a kid, like you seeing your aunts, uncles and shit like that, you like the last thing you thinking of is them dying. You know what I'm saying? The last thing you thinking of is dying, not being a part of your life no more. Even, you know, even though you know death is a thing, but as you grow older, even down to friends and shit like that. Cause we at the age, it's like your friends and shit, you know, go through something and pass away. Damn, like it's people that I never thought or could conceive, or you know, I never could fathom them dying. But death is really a thing. And if you're fortunate enough to still be alive and still have, you know, that I could leave it at that. You fortunate enough to still be alive. This is why, no matter what you going through, you gotta be grateful. And the way you show your gratitude to the universe, God, and the way you show your gratitude is by choosing to do the things on your mind, choosing to say, I'm not going to be my worst enemy no more. I'm going to take this thought and these ideas, I'm going to bring them to life. That's how you get the most out of life and shit like that. That's why if you live like, and that's what goes back to what I was even saying about the aura shit in the beginning too. When you being yourself and you operate like this, that's when it's like you can't, life in general, it just gets sweeter. You know what I'm saying? Even though you still go through the same amount of turmoil, you still go through the same amount of bullshit, but when you know yourself and you tapped in, it's like, bam, okay, it's like a different level of commitment. Jackie, you said, is it me or people you said people been getting out of here for Virgo season? Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, you see, yeah, right, rest in peace, like rest in paradise type shit. Like the thing is, like, it does seem like that, but you know, the thing is, like how they say, like, you know, niggas die every day, be like, and the thing is, we get so comfortable in thinking it can't be us type shit, you know, and again, it's not about, and this is the difference. It's like a lot of people are so afraid of death, and they're afraid of death because they know they spent their life on bullshit. They know they spent their life not doing exactly what I said before, bringing their thoughts and feelings and ideas to life, and spending time doing things they want to do. And it's like, we all got responsibilities that we got to, but the thing about it is, it's all a balance. Like, you know, the best, man, I heard some shit the other day, and it made me it sparked something in me, right? And I was a dude talking about investing, and he was like, self first, right? It's like just a rule of thumb. You want to pay yourself first, and what that actually means, right? You might think paying yourself first, look what you think it means, right? This is what it was, right? He was explaining, he was like, pay yourself first. That bill, that car note, that whatever, it's gonna be there. You know, who gives a fuck if it's a late payment? Who gives a fuck this, right? And he was talking about investing in the concept of saying, at the end of it, you want to put money to work and make it work for you. So you know, instead of, say you got an extra 200 at the end, you know, you get an extra $200, right? That you didn't expect to get. You was already paying your bills and stuff like that. You get an extra. You think you're gonna get ahead by trying to pay off a credit card or pay off later, pay off something early to get ahead that way. But it's like, nah, just pay yourself, because that's the only way you're gonna get ahead. Put that money into an investment, right? And when you think about that, it makes a lot of sense. It's like, if you try to catch up on the back end, then, you know, you always gonna have another credit card. It's always gonna be another thing. It's always gonna be another thing that your money could go to. You know, you saving money this is why people don't get rich by saving money. Because if you save money, your money is just stuck. There's always gonna be another thing for that money to have to be spent on. I'm not saying you know, I'm not saying lack discernment and spend your emergency funds and shit like that. But what I mean, the point of it is, you want to invest in things that's going to work for you. You have to do that on the end. You got to pay yourself first, instead of trying to you know, and I'm not no financial advisor, as y'all can tell. Again, I'm reiterating what he was saying, but spiritually, it made me think of, you know, life in that sense. Life is always going to be another thing, another problem, another situation that is you know, seem intense and stressful. But to pay yourself is to get back to who you are. You know, paying yourself is saying, you know, Yeah, shit might be going crazy right now, but let me do the things that make me feel fulfilled still. And what you'll find is by doing that, you get a lot more out of life that ends up in situations where those things that stress, it's like the stress gonna come anyway. So if you invest more into who, you know, what you do and what makes you feel fulfilled, in a sense that that's still gonna be there. If your mental health ain't right, you're not going to be strong to even deal with certain things that happen later on as problems. A lot of people be in a situation and they want to stress about their problems, and they give all their time, attention, imagination, creativity to the problem. But it's like sometimes the key is, when it comes to your time, energy, and creativity, imagination, give that to your spirit. Make yourself feel, you know, do things that align with you, so that you can be in a space to be like, if you align, things end up playing out in a way where you realize whatever falls away or whatever ends up transforming or dying or leaving you was meant, you know what I'm saying, it's meant to be gone. It's meant to be something I don't need. If you align, you are, no, I'm on that track now, you know. But I don't want to get too confusing, because, you know, people can take that in the wrong context. I don't want nobody to take that and go on a path where they feel like, oh yeah, it's time for me to quit my job, or I need to separate from everybody in my life and shit like that, because I know how it be sometimes. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. I just want to make sure I'm making, you know, I'm at least making sense. It's just, you know, when you live in life and shit like that, you gotta like understand, you know, because we all go through different phases and stuff like that. So, you know, just like, but by knowing yourself, you know what you really want. You know what you really, you know who you are, and you know where you're going. Even if it gets a little confusing, you know, if you, and whenever it does get confusing, the best thing you can do is just sit with yourself and remind yourself who you are. Take a little time, spend a little time with yourself, develop and build that up, and then you'll be in a space where it, you know, it starts to click, it starts to fall in order. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult because, again, as spiritual beings, we're sharing space with other individuals. So goes back to what I was saying. It's like everything feels like an angle. Everything starts to get weird the more and more we try to do that. You know, right now the reason it is really prominent is because, again, it's that that six dimensional shit. But a lot of it, you know, we constantly shifting. So even this in and of itself is a shift. We are seeing who is the, even if we're talking about seven, right? If we're going into the seventh dimension and shit, or seven dimensional thinking, we're thinking about that higher angle. So we're trying to see what the authority really is. And it's not about it's not from the perspective of trying to see who is an authority. It's about you in your own life deciding what's right for you, and embodying that regardless. It's like, you know, how are you going to rise above the situation? How are you going to pick the higher angle, or are you going to play out energies of picking the lower angle, which is, again, being somebody who's on the ground saying, somebody please save me, someone save me. Is this time we seeing the difference. Virgo season, we seeing who is going to embody that, step up to the plate and do it, and the people who just gonna have to shy away. It's not their time yet. But y'all know, if you ready, that's a decision you got to make. Being ready for something. Readiness doesn't just fall in your lap. Readiness is not something that even comes to you. You have to create being ready. And by being ready, you might, by the definition of the sense, you might not actually be ready. You know what I'm saying? You might, but it's a certain level, like, but you have to decide. You can't be ready until you decide you are ready, if that makes sense. That's why there's no such thing as a perfect time to do something. There's a time and place to do something, to do everything, but it's never going to feel like the right time. It's never going to feel, it's like how they say, it's like time and place for everything. That's one aspect of it. That's like how you go about it. But the time is now. It's like you have to enact that. You have to initiate that. You have to be the authority of that. If you don't decide for yourself, now's the time, and I'm ready, you'll always create another excuse to not be ready, or to still wait on something, to push something back. And that's different than somebody who is actively doing things, and then from that space, see, when you're involved, let's say you already committed to the fact you're ready and you're playing ball now, you in the game. When you're in the game, that's when you can start to plan, and that's when you can start to calculate, because you are a participant in that space. So let's say you have a goal, you want to be a musician, right? So there's two people in that case, people who are not ready yet, trying to find the right time and perfect time to be a musician. So what happens to them? They never jumping in, so they don't have no awareness. They can't possibly get ready because they haven't decided to be ready. So they're not even doing it. They're just looking from the sideline. Then there's people who have decided they're ready and they're actively doing things in that space. So you want to be a musician, I'm ready to be a musician in the space. So no, you're not gonna be the best musician because you just got in, but you decided you was ready. So what's gonna happen? You in the game. When you in the game, you touching things. It's hands-on shit. You're developing skills. You're learning things in real time. So you can get a fair sense of how long it's gonna take for you to get to the next space. So if you in the game, you decided you ready. Let's use basketball as a metaphor. You in the game. That means that you've already got on a team, and that means you're attending practice. You might not be a starting player. You might even be the next wave off the bench, but you on the team because you in the game. So by how hard you go at practice and just the little bit of time you got in the game, because if y'all don't know how basketball works, everybody got a certain amount of time to be on the court. So let's say you ain't getting a lot of time, but in practice, you know you going hard, developing a skill and ability. So when in time you manifest something that looks like what you want, you're able to play well, materialize in that space, be an active participant, make relations, express yourself. Boom. And then you get a time on the bench. Now it's not your time. So you got to chill out. You got to go back to practice, get better. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to get more opportunity, more time. So the more and more, next thing you know, you can start to say, okay, well, I've been playing pretty well. If coach is not putting me off the next, if coach is not giving me more time, I can low-key demand more time, or at least negotiate more time, because, hey, coach, I got this skill. I've been going to practice. I've been doing this. You could have that conversation. Oh, I think I deserve more play time. Now, if coach give you more play time, play well again consistently, and guess what happens? Now you can say, okay, well, if I'm playing like this, I can say that I might be off the bench in a couple months or a couple weeks. Once you on that starting, you cut the bench, you can say, well, based upon how hard I'm going at practice and how well I'm doing in the game, I should be a starter soon. But see, even in this process, you can't necessarily expect to be put immediately. You have to do the groundwork. You have to do the hustling. You know what I'm saying? You actually have to prove yourself. And see, this is a metaphor or allegory for what we do as spirits, as far as any want to do in the world. It's like you have to commit to it, and you have to put a certain amount of time and energy into that. And it's not until you do that and you practice that in real time that you'll even get to a space where you a starting player in that game. So let's take it back into what I was just saying. When it comes to deciding, making decisions, you on your path, you are not ready until you just decide you're ready. And you're not going to be perfect, but that's not the point. People think in reverse now. In these days, people think in reverse. So we see the people we admire on streaming services being the best at what they do and stuff like that, and we aspire to be those people. So we want to start at the end. We want to start when we're already, yeah, I'm the shit, everything, and I'm already the best of my craft, when that's not true. It's like, it's way more in the people who we see put in the actual work and grind from the bottom up. And again, a lot of people see people in these positions and automatically think that they can do that. I can just go viral, be famous, and not have to ever work no more, and life is easy. And it's like, you don't realize that in a lot of cases, like I said, you don't know what they did to get in that position. A lot of cases, these people are selected for reasons unbeknownst to you. They're used as a puppet. They got family, nepotism, all this other shit that makes you feel inferior, when, again, you realize it's just a game. And some players in the game, yeah, they might have had a infinite money glitch. They had something that could put them where they are. But at the end of it all, the authenticity is what shows. Because just as fast as somebody get popping, we see as they fall off. Even a viral video is really like cancer for you. A viral song is really like cancer for your music career, if you really think about it. Because people who get these hits, unless they can produce on that level, they get thrown away. Hot today, gone tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And we got to stop thinking in terms of linking spirituality to some form of fame, because fame is very finite. Fame is very elusive. It's kind of biggest witchcraft that they done put on people, to think that life is about getting famous, because it plays on the spirit's natural inclination to want to be one of a kind, and then the ego's natural inclination to want to be seen and express itself. So it manipulates a lot of people to think that this is their purpose, to do something that will get them famous. And what's famous? Famous like forms of validation and gratification based upon other people's interest into your life. Now, on a spiritual level, all of us one of a kind, and where spirits and angels get their power from is influence, is others' ideas, minds that agree. So it plays on natural inclinations of only your spirit and your ego, and mixes it into some kind of weird narcissism drive, narcissism, validation, addiction that people get. It's a loop. You think all your problems gonna go away if you were to just be famous and rich, and that's not how it works. Everything amplifies. Just keep in mind that. So if you're a fucked up individual now, you think you bills now, wait till you get $1 million. You still gonna have a millionaire's worth of bills, a millionaire's worth of problems. So if you can't handle them and you broke, what makes you think having $1 million really gonna solve your problems? Because it might look like that on the surface. Well, shit, I'd rather be, what they say, crying in a Benz than crying in a box or something like that. Why are you crying in the first place? It's like if you're going not crying first and then get in the bins. I don't even know. You should work on not crying first before you get in the bins, or at least be working on that while you trying to get into a bins. People be crying in a box, then get a bins and cry in there, and then they want to off themselves. And it's like, there's no surprise. Like, you got the same problems, because as you get higher, and it might look like different things that become the different problem. Because again, it might start to become a drug, or start to become this. But we see it. Even people who are lame, like you was lame without money, you was lame with money. You know what I'm saying? The money impress some people, and that's what people get high off of. Because it don't, at point, it's just the attention in general. So it might impress some people, and it might be enough for you to feel satisfied and good. But at the end of it all, it's hollow. It's shallow. And again, to each their own. So it's not even about judging people too hard or too harshly on. It's everybody to each their own. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their own thing, and hey. But getting back to the moon, right? So the new moon and what it's actually going to be, how it's going to be affecting things. So the new moon, right, is going to start to activate the stellium in Virgo. So wherever we have Virgo in, again, this is where we have to buckle down on things. We got to be serious, and we got to take care of these things in the sense of, and taking care of it in the earth sense. Taking care of something in the earth sense is way different than taking care of it in a water sense, a fire sense, or an air sense. When we take care of things as far as water, it is about how we feel and being more comfortable and creating a better environment. When it comes to taking care of something in terms of fire, it's about expressing and making the space for something. So, that might look like you just having to speak up for yourself and shit like that, and ruffle feathers, maybe even burn bridges to get the point across. When it comes to air, this is about having, clarity in that area. So communicating to the point where we all understand what's going on. That's taking care of something in the air way. Taking care of something in the earth way different. It's about, it's a certain mentality where you taking it serious. You start to really calculate, and you kind of deal with the unfun stuff of what needs to be done. Taking care of something in the earth way is saying, yeah, my back might be broke and I might be dead exhausted, but I got to go to work because that's what's required. I need to do that. I need to attend to this. It's like a sense of duty and service, regardless of what you might think and what you might see. And that can become, difficult. And again, the fact that it's a stellium, we do have to be fairly, we every now and then to pull ourselves back and create balance in that space, because we're going to be overactive in that area. That's kind of the influence we're going to feel. It's like we're going to feel like there's something we need to take care of in the house we have Virgo in, and we're very true, and it's very true, especially with the new moon. The new moon could kind of work out in two ways. It could bring on it. Hopefully it's bringing you feelings of how to approach the schedule, how to approach the work. So there's a new way to feel about the work. Now that might be good or bad depending on your perspective and your attitude. if you approach this with a bad attitude, you might set yourself up to be further invested into doing a bunch of things that kind of wear you out, burn you out. And you know, and because your perspective on what you got to work on in your schedule, you took the new feeling, the new moon, and you started filling your cup up with something that was bitter. Basically, either fill it with something sweet and something that's going to feel refreshing, or you could fill it up with, you could piss in the cup, or you could juice some fruits in the cup. You know what I'm saying? Please do what you do, but put some damn juice in the cup, aka the new moon to the full moon. Fill that cup up with some juice. Don't pee in the, come on now. You know what I'm saying? It's your cup. You think you doing, you know what I'm saying? People get attitudes and start like people be upset about their own cup. Like that's the only reason you fighting at the new moon. That's the only reason. Like just saying, people losing their fucking life. This is why people get killed in the full moon. They done pissed in their cup. They poisoned themselves. Bad thoughts and feelings. They done ingested into their spirit experience. Put some juice in the damn cup. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's gonna happen. So that new feeling, put some new feelings of, and it doesn't have to be optimism. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to go overboard with the new feeling in a positive way, because again, I know like you want to still be realistic, but what you want to put into it's like the new feeling should be just your ability to get it accomplished. You know, put some more capable energy, mentalities. Capable, I'm capable. Yeah, this schedule is gonna be it's gonna be hell, but I'm capable. Even if I gotta adjust it later on and it does become too much, it's not a reason to look at it as in a negative way. That's not really going to help you. So to put better, you know, to plant better seeds as for new moon goals, whatever goals or things you schedule, list, whatever you got on that list, you know, if you can't be you know, you ain't got to be super positive and optimistic about it. Feel capable of doing it. Just say, yeah, I don't feel like doing this. I don't happy about doing this, maybe, because a lot of us in situations where we got to pay off debt, we getting things cleared up, we got to be serious, we taking care of responsibilities. It ain't much fun. See, the thing about Earth, we have to learn delayed fun. It might not be fun now, but it's gonna be hella fun when you realize you do got the material, you do got what it takes, you do got the resources, you do got the check come in, and when, you know what I'm saying, keep that in Earth transits. Like delayed gratification is the best route during Earth transits. You might can get away with instant gratification during fire and maybe even during air, but during water seasons and Earth seasons, it's a little bit about delayed gratification and being able to see a little further into the mix. But that is going to feel so much better if you take it serious now. If you do the work now, it's going to pay off. So you got to kind of have that type of mentality when it comes to things. It's like, you know, let's set the stage for something. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it the right way. So planting good seeds, though, is just simply knowing that you're capable, though. Trusting that you're capable. You know, you might have faith in something magically saving the day, but have enough belief that you are capable based upon your own work ethic and what makes sense to you. That's how Earth signs develop good faith. It's less about imagination and something magically happening that makes things go well. See, that works for Pisces. That works for Earth, and I mean, that works for Sagittarius. That works for, you know, it might even work for air sign and shit like that. But for Earth signs to actually develop a healthy spiritual system, first start to have faith and belief in your capability and your, you know, because I am who I am, I know I work hard enough to X, Y, and Z, because that is where your faith should center in. If you try to have faith in other things, they're going to let you down, even down to people. And what you don't realize too is, as an Earth sign, right, you might have faith in somebody, right? See, this is how a Earth sign will become, like how they'll kind of denounce spirituality or start to become very mistrustful of others. And on one end, yeah, they valid, but on another end, they kind of, that this is like the wrong, sometimes it develops into the wrong perspective about things, because your it'll develop into trust issues. And when you start to be in a space of trust issues, it make it hard to connect. And this can make y'all dry to the point of the detriment of y'all relationships, or the detriment of connections, other areas in life that, like water, you know, fire and things like that. Other areas in your life start to become troubled because you lack trust. And that lack of trust is really just you put too much faith in others. You have to, it's about having faith in yourself and your capabilities. And sometimes it might feel like you putting everything on your shoulders, but what you'll realize is that people end up coming through for you in ways that make you believe again. It's a mind loop thing with earth signs, like how they be like, people be like, earth signs ain't spiritual. No, it's just earth signs got to understand their spirituality literally has to come from their faith and belief in their own capability and their own ethic, because that's going to keep them on track. And then what they learn is what they receive, though. Earth signs start to become, you'll start to feel yourselves trans when, and you'll really know you in a high octave when you start to see the good faith in others. Like others will start to give you, it's like generous energy. It's like earth signs end up being in a space where, see, if they develop their faith that way, it's almost like their faith is expanded when now they're in the real world and other people end up coming through for them. And this is a healthy sense of, damn, I can't have faith in the world. I can't believe in miracles, because my belief and my faith and my capabilities and my work ethic got me to where I could go. But all earth signs realize this. It's only so far you can go by yourself. And so that it's like, as an earth sign, believing in that, if y'all earth signs, y'all know what I'm talking about. Because it's like, when you develop that for yourself and you getting on track, then it almost feels like you get to that point where you really need a miracle. And then suddenly this would be when you got a friend or somebody around you who got just what you needed. It might not even be money or whatever. It might just be the right thing to say, or it might be the right expression or the right connection that makes you, again, have that extra sense of faith and belief back into yourself again, you know. But earth signs, y'all shoot yourself in the leg by putting too much faith in other people. You can only, the best source of your spirituality got to come from your faith and belief in your own capabilities and work ethic. And that's why it even makes it hard for earth, sun, moon, ascendants to like being children. Because if you think of the relationship of a lot of children and parents, children children by default want to put all of their faith and belief in their parent. Their parent is the closest thing to God at some point for a child, because they're looking at it from, this is my creator, this is the person who's taking care of me and shit like that. And you know what I'm saying, that turns into later on, let's say you did have, and a lot of earth signs go through a rough childhood because they parents, it's almost like a lot of them manifest themselves into families that are dealing with earth-like things to teach them the lesson of, oh shit, I have to believe in my capabilities. I have to trust and have faith in myself. You know what I'm saying? So that develops into that type of trauma that later on makes it even, again, develops into early sets of trust issues and shit like that, and an inability to really you know, why an earth sign will look you dead in the face. You could be professing your love to an earth sign, they will look you dead in your face. Are you done? You know, and it might come off hard. You be like, damn, like I can't connect to this person. I don't understand this person. But you just have to understand they learn life a lot differently, to the point where their level of their showing care and things is just being a good assistant to you. You know, you don't even realize where an earth sign is providing love and affection sometimes, because it'll come in the form of, well, yeah, I made sure all the bills was paid. I made sure you had all your medicine, all this. I made sure that you don't even realize how an earth sign is really providing for you. And you know, especially if you're a person who, you know, wants more romance and stuff like that. And it's even worse. A lot of times, even earth sign females who are romantics, it's hard for them too, because they it's almost like it's weird. It's like they didn't have to be in, especially as a female, because with earth energy, even though earth is feminine, the way this world is and the way it kind of inverts things, it's like it turned a lot of earth energy into masculine energy. So it's almost like women, sometimes earth sign women had to go through so many things where, again, as a woman, having all the faith and belief in yourself almost feels like it goes against you, even though it doesn't, but it feels like it does sometimes. So if y'all on the other end, and let's say y'all did have issues with masculine figures in your life early on too, and just all the providing figures the trust issues go way further, and it's like it's even a harder, it's hard to even to conceive that somebody would be helpful or useful in that way until you see it, until you actually see the realistic, oh shit, this person actually did X, Y, and Z. And then that's when y'all feel more feminine. And not to say earth sign women don't feel feminine and shit like that, but if y'all ever wondered, if you were earth sign woman, you wondered where your femininity be at, or even if you're a man and you dealing with a earth sign woman, like a woman with earth in one of her big three, or different areas too sometimes, this will help you understand even how to approach those relationships. Because as a man though, you got to realize, like, it be certain things, certain spaces you be having to jump in order to make it possible for the feminine energy to come out. Like we so backwards these days, especially down to like gender and shit like that. Like, it's so backwards these days that it be things that, like, everybody gotta have a different type of patience. Like, everybody gotta be able to, like, you gotta really be, especially if you're the one who kind of sees things, you see what's going on, you really gotta, like, it's hard out here. Like, it's deeper than when they say, oh, the dating pool. It's just people just, it's so many things that's created loops and extra hurdles and shit like that. It's just it's the times we in, man. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, you said Capricorn sun here, Earth's downfall is putting faith in our out of our, right, exactly, facts. Shout out to Dark Laser, you know what I'm saying? You said hella trust issues, you grew up cold as fuck. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And not even on purpose. That's why, like, again, you got to give earth sign, like, give grace with discernment, but sometimes you got to understand, like, the earth energy, how it's developed. I mean, think about you right now. You got bills, and how do you feel when you can't pay your shit? How do you feel when you ain't got, earth signs feel like that every day, based upon, unless they are cool, provided for materially, you know what I'm saying? Because and that's, they can't just be a Pisces and forget, like, oh, I forgot I had bills. Like, I was asleep. You know what I'm saying? I forgot I started making a song. They can't be like fire. Oh shit, I forgot I was doing so much running around and be air. Oh shit, I was thinking about this and I was talking about this. Earth signs literally stuck to just think about all the pressure of reality. And they just gotta sit there like that. I feel y'all earth signs, because I know that. And see, I have an earth south node. I feel like I left that, like, my whole life. It's the south node in Taurus, and it's in the 6th house. So, like, my whole life is about dreams instead, and it a little differently. Even though, like, I still had certain experiences like that because I'm on that axis, but I literally feel like I left that lifetime, like, of overly stressing about certain things on that level and stuff. Even though in this lifetime it still plays out as me needing to, that's the thing about the south node. South node is still very important, so it's still able to utilize those things, and I still deal with themes of those things and how important it is in order to get things to be suitable to go further to the north node. That's how we got to understand the south and the north node. Like, south node is very necessary, but it's more of the energy we have, in a sense, mastered, or it's almost, and when I say mastered, I just mean better, so you got to do better, so you got to incorporate that. And then your north node, you're not that yet, but you're trying to embody that energy, so you're trying to figure out. You said my moon in Pisces though. Yeah, so if you earth sign, like, sometimes you have to understand the other energies you got too, so you can jump into those to help you not get so bogged down, because earth is so powerful, but it's so just being the way this world is, it puts y'all through, like, again, like you said, certain circumstances that make it hard to learn that lesson. But once you learn that lesson, life becomes a little bit easier, you know what I'm saying? Because you put a lot less pressure on other people. And even though it seemed like you put more pressure on yourself, you building up your confidence by every time you succeed in those areas, because you have the capabilities. You know what I'm saying? You have the capabilities. And even though, and it plays out differently, because even as an earth, let's say an earth ascendant, it's more so playing out in your perspective. So you create a hard perspective on things. Like, so sometimes you don't got to take material things so personally on a one-on-one. Like, you got to change your perspective of money or something, like, or change your perspective on what's real. You gotta remind yourself that my capability to, it's almost like instead of looking at it from, because that the way I explained it originally, it's from the sun perspective more so, or it's really all of them come, but you can kind of look at it like if you're thinking about this in terms of developing a certain level of faith. Like if the earth is in your ascendant, it's more so looking inside yourself in order for you to have a better perspective on what can be worked on and improved. If you're looking at your sun sign, it's how you act. So you're, you know, saying to have faith in your actions and shit like that, you have to know you have the capabilities to get up and do it. Da, da, da. If it's your moon, it's like you have to be able to trust your own abilities. It's like you have to feel that though. You have to trust and have faith on an emotional level that, you know, I have the capabilities and I have the, you know, the capability to work and improve my situation and make something more suited to my reality and shit like that. It's like on an emotional, on a physical, trying to do things how you see it and in perspective, your personal life and what you choose to personally be invested in and stuff like that. But getting back on, I forgot how we even got all the way to this tangent, but shit, pulling it back. So, you know, when we talk about Virgo energy, where the stellium, man, I think it was because we was talking about the stellium. That's really where that stellium has to be. We have to be aware of things in this area. We have to, it's like, it's going to be a lot of pressure, but we just have to know that we're capable of doing what's necessary in that Virgo energy. And that's going to create a better space for that new moon to start to sprout. It's like those seeds that you start to plant there, you off on a good foot, rather than you at it like, because it really come down to that. This Virgo stellium, new moon in Virgo, you either gonna feel capable or you're not gonna feel capable. And if you don't feel capable, you need to start lying to yourself to feel capable, or what's gonna happen is you're gonna start to plan a lot of these that look like you not being capable. And that's gonna end up being a result, full moon in Pisces, of you being in a delusion, you completely not having no results. That's like if at the end of the work week, you was telling everybody, oh, I'm working on this, I'm working on that. And at the presentation, we're like, okay, well, Johnson, what you been working on? And Johnson like, well, you put up a blank ass slide on the things, and it's a bunch of random shit on the slide. And he's like, well, this is what I've been working on. And everybody in the room like, you was on bullshit, you fired. Like you didn't work on nothing. Versus somebody who, it might be a lot, it might seem like it's all over the place, but if you just know you're capable, if you do your due diligence, follow the moon cycle, by the full moon, you're gonna have something to present that actually look like, oh wow. You know, and again, the whole time you working on it though, you got to remember, Virgo might not even give you the satisfaction of feeling like it's worth sharing. So the whole time you working, you might still like, I'm falling short, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing this. You got to deal with that shit a little bit during the season. Deal with it and utilize it. Understand that when you get those little thoughts, turn those thoughts into a bitch, in the sense of let them think. Like, it's almost like sometimes when you having self-doubt thoughts, the most powerful thing you could do in that space is say, well, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. You know how powerful you become by developing that type of mentality when you got a lot of like self-doubt thoughts and shit like that. Like, oh, you don't need to be doing that. Like, what's the point of even doing this? Like, this is stupid. You're not even doing this perfect. You're not even, all you gotta say is, well, I don't give a fuck, I'm gonna do it anyway. That's some of the hardest shit you can tell yourself at this point, because it helps. It's like, think about somebody in real life in your ear. You ain't shit. Hating on you. They hating. They like, you ain't shit. You ain't gonna do nothing with that, man. You should stop doing that now. You quit. You ain't never gonna get ahead. Da da da. If you choose, if there's two things you can do. You can either buy into it. Two things you could do. Let's use the elements. You can start talking shit to them. So you take your mind off of what you're doing and you give it to them. You're like, shut up, da da da. You drive yourself crazy. You could take it personally, get hurt, start crying. Now you take your attention off of that, crying. Oh, you a bitch now. They laughing at you. You know what I'm saying? That's water. You could be fired. You could fight them. You still took attention and energy off of this, and you exerted energy. You might even get your ass whooped. Fire. Or we in Earth season. I don't give a fuck. I'm just working on this. So we gotta be that level of, like, again, everything comes down to authority. Like, even with Capricorn energy, to a certain degree, Capricorn status is like class. Somebody of a certain status ain't gonna just fight. Like, you know, if I'm walking around in a suit and tie, I'm not just gonna be fighting somebody in the street. You know what I'm saying? Like no, my lawyer will contact you. You know what I'm saying? People who, if you walking around in the street, you got a construction outfit on because you about to go to your 9 to 5 and you work construction and shit. And I ain't talking shit about the construction workers. We need y'all. You know what I'm saying? We all jobs. You know what I'm saying? Created equally. Da 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 da. But I'm saying, if again, class, you ain't got that much to lose if you working in the in construction. Not to say that, but like you get what I'm saying. You not, if you fighting in construction, chances are you might get a promotion. Like, so you know what I'm saying, I'm ready to fight. Like if I work a construction job, or if I'm a cashier if I work at Popeyes, yes, if you throw that chicken in my face, I'm gonna whoop your ass. I don't care about the job that much. Versus if you work for a Fortune 500 company and somebody throw a drink on you or tries to assault you, oh no, I'm calling my lawyer. We finna get the bag. I'm calling my lawyer. You done fucked up. Cause I'm gonna make sure that you so bankrupt, you don't even want to come out the bed. Like, I'm gonna make sure you so bankrupt, you might not even have a house after this. You might actually live on the street. You might end up offing yourself. I don't even gotta touch you. I'm gonna call my lawyer. I'm gonna sue you so bad, you gonna want to off yourself. You gonna want to harm yourself. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? So Capricorn is like class. Capricorn is second deacon of Virgo. We have to do this shit with class. So when it comes to what you're working on and shit like that, your approach to it needs to be like, do it classy. Like, okay, yeah, I might have the thoughts in my head as though I'm not going nowhere, and I might feel like this ain't worth it, but I need to be disciplined enough to do it because I know my capabilities and I know I can do it. And if that's my end goal, it doesn't matter what's going on in the interim. I just need to put in the work. And when it's all said and done, my results will speak for themselves. See, that is faith for an earth sign. Capability, and then trusting one's own capability, and faith that the results will speak for themselves. Trust in one's own capability and faith that the results will speak for themselves. That is faith for an earth sign. Or like for right now, that needs to be y'all, you know what I'm saying? Put that on y'all wall. I'm put it on mine. Put that in my notebook and shit like that. Like, trust in one's own capability and faith that the results will speak for themselves, because there's nothing else after that. And literally that mantra alone will keep you on track doing whatever it is you supposed to be doing. Everybody's going to have an opinion. There's always going to be another problem. There's always going to be another issue, another argument, another this, that, and the third to distract you. But the only thing that is the truth is your capability. And again, trusting your own capability is that's even the concept of knowing that you can improve. If I trust my capability and I'm invested in my craft, I'm going to improve regardless. That's just how it works. Time, energy, you know what I'm saying? Time, energy, that's an investment. So even when I was explaining that example of investment, you need time for yourself and energy spent on what you align with first. Then go to that job, because the job gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? Or then go to the thing that's keeping your life together as responsibility, or things that you don't feel like doing. But still prioritize, because you can't just think you can just do it however you want. So you have to be strategic. You have to prioritize. You have to know what's important and when the time is to do that, because that's where timing is everything. Time and place for everything. That's what, again, all this shit is tools. Now, this so the moon in Virgo opposite Saturn, again, this is exactly what I've been explaining this whole time. Just feeling uncomfortable with reality, but knowing you need to start to take it seriously. You can either try to escape all you want, and again, the result is going to be just that, escape, delusion. Or you can start to work on your reality to make it look like something you don't need to escape from. Think about it. The full moon gonna be conjunct Saturn, and I think even Neptune. So that's a recipe for, if you're unsatisfied, that means you are just deeply done plummeted into an illusion, a delusion. And whew, you know what I'm saying, to get crazy there. Like, if you think about it like that, full moon, catastrophic moment, and you so deep into an illusion. On top of that, it's an illusion that looks like a reality you can't even escape from. A nightmare. It's almost like a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? If you really think about it, an extreme delusion that's rooted in reality. If your reality is shit because you didn't spend time actually making it look like how it's supposed to look, doing the energy work, doing the groundwork, and actually making this shit work, it's gonna look like a nightmare. It's gonna look like, yo, I'm trapped behind all, and what it is going to be a delusion around it's almost like your lack of responsibility, lack of awareness of reality is going to turn into the very things that's restricting you from everything else. So this is like the equivalent of, instead of going to work, you took the whole week not going to work, or just some other things that were more fun, or you reduced your hours and shit like that. You was only working a couple hours and stuff like that. You wasn't thinking about it, but all of a sudden now, this next week, you can't do nothing outside because you don't have the funds. You can't do nothing. So you looking crazy. Everybody's like, yo, man, we finna go to this concert, we finna do this, we finna do that. You can't even step outside because you owe too much. You know what I'm saying? You just like, so you got to think in terms of that. It's like, right now, that's what's necessary. It's like we gotta, and the thing is, right now, the thing about new moons is new moons are always exciting, because so let's say you are in a situation where things is not looking as favorable. The thing about it is, the new moon, it is about low key being in a situation and having to come up with what's gonna work. It's like, it's like being naked. So there's nothing there yet. And let's say you starting out and you already in a situation that's looking questionable. That's not a bad thing. You know, for a new moon, this is your chance to start to utilize that thing and work through that thing. And by the end of that transit, you could very well be much further along with the progress of doing whatever it is you're trying to do, or that hole you in, digging yourself out. You very well could flip the script, and by the end of it all, not only did you get out that hole, but you ended up building on top of that shit, and now you got a whole mansion, or you're in the process of building something on top of that hole you was in at one point. So don't even look at it like, damn, I'm going into this new moon in a fucked up situation. Nah, that's a lot of times that'd be when I'm the most excited, because I know, oh shit, I'm really being tested. I'm really in a situation where, because that's really what it is. The phases that we go through in life, all of them, it's not necessarily God testing you, but it's a form of you testing yourself, because you created these issues. You did. You could blame it on anybody else you want, but at the end of the day, you made certain decisions that led to these consequences. So every time we in a situation or going through phases like that, it's part of our testament, and you decide how that's going to go. You are the writer of that. You're the author of that. So you better do what you do. Put some good shit in the script. You know what I'm saying? Don't set yourself up for even worse situations by ignoring it, or just going along with the narrative that somebody else provided. Because if you give the pen and paper to somebody else, guess what? You're not gonna fuck with the ending. You're like, what the fuck is this? How you gonna write my story and you didn't even get? And again, the universe is looking like, well, nigga, you gave me the pen. You didn't write it, so it had to be written based upon what you was scared of, and you don't even realize you wrote it by not writing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you told your, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Just don't do that. That's not smart. That's part of the LLS. You know, the LSS, lazy spirit syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Don't have LSS. They telling y'all about monkeypox. Don't have the LSS. That's the lazy spirit syndrome. Stay away from that shit. You deserve better. You deserve better for yourself. You know what I'm saying? A lot's going on too. Today we got Uranus going retrograde. So Uranus going retrograde in Taurus. That's kind of like again, issues in which of independence, things that we used to, you know, it's almost like changes. It's reviewing the changes you made in your life, the things you chose to stand on as an individual, and it's kind of making you question these things again, because we have to get these things right before things shift forward again. You know, Uranus and Uranus retrograde is like everything that you was kind of standing on as an individual, your individuality in general, is now being, you kind of it's going to start to be like something you have to rethink, reanalyze a little bit. That's going to try the new moon though. So the thing about it is, it's a gift. and Virgo stellium, because we're gonna have Venus there, and eventually Mercury's gonna be there around the 14th, around maybe the 12th. So but it's in shadow period right now. So shadow is just basically it catching up to where it started retrograde at. We still in a sense trying to get back into the mode. Like mentally we're still trying to bring ourselves back to where we left off. So you know, try not to do too much communicating, even though communication and thinking in general is getting clearer. It's like right now, spend a lot more time trying to get the information that you was missing back when the retrograde was going. So whatever was communicated during that time, you want to kind of just revisit those conversations, reiterate what was really going on. Even if you're not talking to somebody externally, do it within yourself. Like try to think really what was going on in your mind during those times, during the retrograde, and like, you know, and not to dwell in it, but just to understand it for yourself as to like what led you here and maybe what needs to be adjusted next time, or you know, say lessons you learned. It's basically you just kind of doing a nice little review of what it was that had you on what you was on and the result of it, you know. But now we have the clarity, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to mull over it too much. It's not about, you know, getting emotional about it, because what's done is done. But it is about just you having a sense of, oh, that's what I was talking about. That's why I kind of thought this. And, you know, for what it's worth, right or wrong, just, you know, understand it in that sense, you know. Other than that, my bad, I got my little itchy eye. Whew. But other than that, when it comes to the stellium too, not Venus, but yeah, the sun there, that's also good too. That was, I don't, yeah, kind of good, because you're seeing it. You're able to see and feel a lot of the things that you was transforming and trying to change. You're able to look at it and, okay, now you get to rethink your individuality. So a lot of people might be switching up their values based upon it's like they switching up their values based upon what they thought was right and what they thought was wrong, because everybody was standing on their values, you know what I'm saying, very, you know, strong. But now you're gonna start to rethink those things. So certain things that seem like they was important to you at one point is no longer as important, no longer what you might feel so radical to defend. So, you know, this, even for relationships, this is the Uranus retrograde making a in conjunction with Venus. So a misunderstanding of how you receive love and maybe how you give love. How in the receiving end is like Taurus, Uranus is there. So you might have been so rooted in what you value and your own love language, and you might be misunderstanding that, oh, I need to give maybe not the way I just think it's supposed to be given. I might have to adjust my love language to fit the needs of who I'm trying to connect with, right? And love language, that could be substituted for even how you associate yourself with colleagues, as far as what you're trying to work on, relating in general, because you're dealing with you relating. It's the relation of values, because both Libra and Taurus deal with Venus, and Venus itself is at play, but it's Venus in conjunct Uranus. So it's misunderstanding your individuality, your individual way of maybe receiving and giving love. And it's on the receiving end because it's in Taurus. So you be based upon you being too much of yourself, or too much into you know, too much as an individual, and too much rebellion against, you know, other ideas or things like that. It might make you misunderstand the appropriate way to give love or express love in an individual type way. So you might have to craft a unique love language to fit not only who you are, but also who you engaging with. Because just as much as we want to receive love, we got to remember the other person on the other end is who we want to, deserves loves too, and wants to receive love how they want it too. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. Like, just as much as you like X, Y, and Z, you have to be considerate of them liking WJY, you know what I'm saying? It's type shit. So, you know, and y'all have to figure out that compromise. And compromise should look like both y'all getting something, you know what I'm saying, something that y'all want, and y'all can balance it out. And, you know, again, that takes communication, though. That takes a fair amount of willingness to give, and again, trust and faith that you will also receive, you know. But that's kind of a different conversation. Now, he said now it's the first of them, you know it. You know it. Type shit, you know. And again, bills on everybody's mind, because I know me, I'm like, damn. But it be like that, you know what I'm saying? We just gotta work through it. Cause you know, even the thing about it too, even when we think about bills and shit, like it's just like all this shit is not even real. So at a certain point, you gotta kind of say, man, like everybody in different situations though. Like, cause I understand you got like 7 kids and shit. Like, yeah, I feel you. But you know, sometimes it's like you gotta, if you got something going on for yourself, like I said before, pay yourself first, man. Like, find something to be appreciative of and have gratitude for. Them bills, like, if you doing what you're supposed to, it'll get worked out. Especially if you know, you got people around you who either you with and they with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, don't let that be the reason why, you know. But I get it, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, like I said, even me, I be looking at my shit like, damn. But what keeps me going is just knowing that, again, trust in my ability and faith that the results are gonna speak for themselves. So if you doing stuff, if you doing what you're supposed to be doing, that's all you really need to work with. If you not, yeah, you should be worried. You should be worried until you worry enough to push you in a situation where you are doing something. You working on something, you working on your ability, and because you know, again, the only reason you worried is because you can't have, it's impossible to have faith in your results if you're not doing nothing. It's impossible to trust your the reason you're not doing nothing is because you don't trust your capabilities. So you got to think about it like that too. The reason I'm not doing nothing or I'm procrastinating is because I don't trust my capabilities. I haven't decided to be ready. And that being said, it's impossible to have faith because I know that the results are going to speak for themselves and I ain't been doing shit. Save yourself the turmoil. Just commit to something. Decide, like, I'm gonna do this and this is what's gonna get done, and you'll be surprised as things start to mold into something you can work with, because it's all about something. Like, the spirit is powerful in the sense it's always able to produce something out of nothing. So you always got something. It's just people get too pressed about what the something is and whether or not the something is gonna fix the everything, and you know what I'm saying, it just be all over, you know what I'm saying. Chill. You know what I'm saying? You say I'm grateful for you. We lit. Yeah, for sure. I'm grateful for you too, man. Grateful for everybody sliding through. Like I said, you know, new subscribers, all that shit, you know, likes, and, you know, comments. I appreciate all y'all, man. Like I said, we upgrading the whole channel, the whole platform, taking it to new levels, because it's about that time. It's about that time. But I don't, again, even in that sense, I don't want to talk about it too much. I just want to quit. But type shit. So when we think about yeah, so we've been talking about Virgo for a minute. Virgo also oh, I was talking about Uranus being in being retrograde now. But that was in relation to the trine and the other shit. But now when we got the new moon is also going to be in conjunct Aries, where Chiron sits. So misunderstanding how to feel about mistakes that we made and even our spiritual path. Again, don't worry about that in the sense of what's going to happen next or how do I need to deal with these mistakes. Literally, just work on what you need to work on. Stay focused. Everything you made a mistake doesn't matter in comparison to what you're able to do if you just lock in and focus on what you can change. You can't change the past. You can't change what you already made as a mistake. So no matter who trying to throw that in your face or who trying to, and again, a lot of times it be yourself. No matter what is happening, the only thing you can do is work on it to improve it. And that right there is the answer. So think in terms of that. Same thing with your spiritual path. Spiritual path, not even something you need to be thinking that hard about. Spiritual, like, if you doing what you're supposed to do, you automatically gonna be on your path. You just too concerned about the unknown. So stop caring about the unknown. The results, have faith that the results gonna speak for themselves, no matter how they look. Don't get caught up on the outcome that you expect, because that's where people fuck up. As soon as they don't see things aligning to that outcome, they give up. They feel uninspired. They don't feel like doing it no more, and they never get anything out of that. Stop worrying about that. Give a fuck about just the fact that it's just, you have to have faith that the results will speak for themselves, and that's it. Yeah, moon in Virgo, new moon in Virgo is going to be what, squaring Jupiter and squaring Mars. So learning is like learning how to feel about information we've been expanding on, learning how to work on it, learning how to work with the information expanded on based upon our experience. It's like we have to trust that we know enough now, even if we don't know everything. This is where even that square starts to become something also beneficial, because it's like still learn, still go out and experience and have those conversations, but you have those to bring back to what you already started working on. Don't wait to work on it until you feel like you know enough, because you'll never know enough. Knowledge is a never-ending ledge. It's a never-ending fall. So you have to, at some point say, okay, well, let me do it, and as I do it, I'm gonna get knowledge anyway, and all I got to do is apply that, and that becomes wisdom. That becomes more powerful and potent than just trying to learn a bunch, because a lot of people just dive in a bunch, don't even, because the thing about it is learning is a form of consumption. So if you're not taking what you learn and figuring out how to transmute it into something you can produce, you're just getting inflated. You're just, saying you might feel good because you know a lot, but you become that annoying ass person who always got a fun fact, but don't ever be doing nothing in their life. It's like, shut up. Like, you always got 2 cents to say, but you ain't never, at some point you have to figure out how to get this knowledge out. So it's like, if you're gonna learn a lot, figure out how to write a book or something, figure out how to turn it into creativity, apply it to some form of a purpose or craft. Don't just be a person who get fat off of knowledge. Like, I mean, hey, ain't nothing, but be a teacher or something like that, even if it's just to your kids or something. Like, don't just be, that's anyway. What I'm saying, you gotta learn how to utilize that knowledge and shit like that. But learning also the new moon in Virgo squaring Mars. Now Mars is making its way to Cancer. So Mars, I think it's 28 degrees. We need to wrap it up with Mars. We need to do the last little bit of communication. And the thing is, we still gonna be communicating, but when it comes to passions and the ability to do these things, we're not gonna feel as motivated. So we have to understand, like, Mars is getting ready. It's like Mars getting ready for bed. Mars about to be sleep. So we need to do everything we need to do our little nightly routine, tuck Mars away so that Mars ain't so we don't have no violent dreams or have a restless night where Mars supposed to be resting and getting regenerated, but because you didn't do what you supposed to do with your passions and shit like that, now you just frustrated and you tossing and turning at night. You having a terrible night, so you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. So when Mars gets into Leo, it's gonna have such an attitude. Mars gonna, oh my God, Mars, shut the fuck up. Mars gonna have such an attitude, think everybody owe it something. Instead, you want to tuck Mars in. Mars you already should have been having those conversations, transforming your situation and how you deal with your passions to the point where now you can sleep peacefully because you done got it all off your chest. So everybody involved in your passions know what's going on. You know what's going on. You've already communicated it at length. You understand it. You know the plan. So now that you know it, you can go in that dreamland. And this is where Mars in its fall actually becomes real powerful, because when Mars is asleep, you can actually be in your dream world when it comes to your passion. So this is you actually starting to be passionate about. It's almost like, if you think the relationship between what Mars in Cancer is, Mars is like fighting for what you care for. So this could look like in your dream, like you starting to pour into your passions a lot more care. So this is becoming very precise and specific. It's like it becomes something where now it's like, think about passion that you care about. That's a powerful combination in which, like, when that's converted into something that's expressed, this is why, like, mama bear energy, where a mama bear will tear you to shreds based upon how much they care about what their kids, say their children, their cubs or whatever. So this is the same thing you can apply to, like, things you're passionate about in your action, if if you on the right track. But if you're not, if you're on a less favorable energy, this is going to be you being overly aggressive, tossing and turning at night, overly aggressive of things because you're insecure. So insecurity is now driving your passion. That's no longer a passion, that's aggression, because it can't be respected outside of, oh, this person's just insecure. So unless somebody understands where you're coming from and why you could be insecure about that, you get the bad rep. It's that, energy where people start looking at you like, damn, I didn't know you really felt like that. and you don't get the grace of somebody who's just passionate and they just deeply care about what they do. So it's like, oh damn, this person aggressive, but I understand they just passionate about their purpose, or passionate about math, or passionate about this, that, and the third. Like that dude that was in the library, and everybody was like, this dude's a creep, but it's like he was just passionate about his shit. Now I don't know his personal life and shit, because you know people online get weird. They start doxing people and pulling up stuff, old tweets and shit get weird. It's unfortunate. That's why, like, going viral is the death of your character, in the sense. Like they use viral. I think going viral is now a psyop, because as soon as you go viral, you alone in the, like, this is how they neutralize and content creators. When they go viral, their life is attacked. Everybody start pulling up old tweets and judging you and shit like that. Like, it's so fucking, it's a setup, bro. Like, it's very nasty how people get with shit like that. Like, that makes me think that shit is a setup, and that's the new age assassination of character. They don't have to go to a content creator and assassinate them. Twitter will, Instagram will, everything will, you know, these blogs and shit like that. Like that girl that got famous by just saying hawk 2 and shit. Like, people judging her to the point where it's like, god damn, like, you ain't never made a joke before. Like, the bitch got fired, she going through this shit. I'm like, yo, niggas can't make jokes because it goes viral. People have to make think pieces. That's that downfall of like Age of Aquarius shit, where it's like, this is where Aquarius is fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, y'all not the smartest in the room. And I love Aquarius, and not all Aquarius is like this, but y'all know that's a side effect of Age of Aquarius. Everybody think they so intelligent, and it's like they start talking and it's like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't know nothing. Like, you gotta chill out, you know. You said, I just never understood how planets affect us so passionately, but I'm learning thanks today. I'm listening. Y'all, appreciate you. You said, thank you for your energy. I say namaste. You as well. Appreciate you. Yeah, you said radical. Shout out to Radical Tsunami. You know, but yeah, like, this shit, it's just wild. Like, it's too much. You know what I'm saying? You said y'all probably something else. Shit, it's crazy. Like, anyway, man, get back to what I was saying, because I forgot what I was even fucking saying. I was talking about that when it comes to yeah, because I was talking about the what, Virgo. Damn, I forgot what alignment it was. I think it was like Mars. That's what it was. Mars and Cancer, caring about shit versus doing it, you know, aggression out of insecurity. You know what I'm saying? So you want to just make sure that's on track and shit like that. Like, make sure you're doing things because you care about it. You know what I'm saying? And again, care can only go so far too. You can care a little too much about the wrong things, and then that's when Mars is fighting for the wrong shit. So that's where a lot of Mars and Cancers end up in a tough situation, because they're just fighting for the wrong thing. They care about the wrong things and shit like that. So just be aware of that. Don't get too caught up in that part to where you're, you know what I'm saying, you're driving yourself off the deep end about something that's like, no, you know. So also Mars, when it comes to yeah, so that's just the new moon squaring Mars, but Mars is making its way into Cancer. So eventually Mars will sextile this Virgo energy with the Sun and Mercury there. So that's gonna be very beneficial. So in the sense of, if you got the right sense of care for what you're passionate about, you're gonna start to be able to have the opportunity to get into the details, and where, you know, things might be a little sensitive when it comes to what you're passionate about, you'll still have the practicality to know that what you're doing is for the betterment of it. And so you'll be in a space where you can accept the fact that, yeah, my passions might be slowing down, but it's so that they can be refined. And as I'm going through this dream, it's almost like your passions is becoming refreshed through Cancer. So that's the positive end of this. The negative end, like I said, tossing, turning, insecure, ready to fight at somebody's neck for the sake of ready to fight at somebody's neck. Shout out to you said I Am the Orange Moon. Yeah, shout out to that song. And it's funny you said Erykah Badu, because this make me think, when I'm talking about insecurity, the insecure side of this, I'm also thinking about the song she got, Bag Lady, where the whole song is about baggage and shit like that, where we have to be very aware of where baggage is slowing us down in our process of development too, where based upon you still being insecure about certain things, that baggage builds up and it accumulates to why you're not actually moving as fast as you would like to. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind and be aware of where, again, we always, in every sense of the way, we are always our own worst enemy. So it's like when things ain't really panning out for you and you wondering what's going wrong, you know, sit back and just understand yourself and just be like, yo, I'm on a track, I'm in a space, I'm in a perspective, and I'm in an attitude that's creating more and more things for me to kind of play into, that's making this shit more difficult. Sometimes you just gotta slow down. You know, that day you might just have to take a nap the whole day and just, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of sit with yourself enough to say, oh wow, I'm the reason for these things, you know. And even in that, like, through understanding that, you become honest with yourself. This is where you can start to develop grace. Because once you break yourself down, then you build yourself back up. You know, it's all give and receive. It's all ebb and flow. So as you know, being self-aware doesn't just stop at you identifying all your demons and getting, you know, it also goes as far as to say, hey, even now that we're clear on this, let's start to build ourselves back up. You know what I'm saying? So it's not all bad, you know, but this helps us though in the way we interact with others, because the grace we give to ourselves becomes the grace we can give to others. You can't get to that point unless you're going within yourself to get to, you know, to know that, to see that. You know, it'd be hard to do that. Like when you're not in that space with yourself, everybody gonna look like the enemy. And so this is how you push people away. You sabotage things that you want closer to you by just not knowing how to deal with, you know, yourself sometimes. Like that's just how it be. The moon in new moon in Cancer, I mean new moon in Virgo, also going to be will also be, let me see, opposite Pisces and Neptune. We talked about that. What? Yeah, trine in Uranus. Also Pluto enters Capricorn. So Pluto been retrograde for a while now. I've been talking about Pluto transformation and how important it is. Like I even was saying earlier about Capricorn status in class. Like we have to carry ourselves completely differently now. And this is where the transformation, this starts to become the peak of the transformation, because now it's back in Capricorn. So it's going to make this grand Earth trine. Is it a grand Earth? Not a grand Earth trine, just an Earth trine with, no, grand Earth trine, because it's going to have Uranus to pull from in retrograde, and it's going to have the sun and Mercury at a point. And right now it's like the moon there. So there's this, again, realistic transformation, this very rooted, grounded transformation we have to make. Like basically, like I was saying about getting serious, we have to really just have another look at what's really going on. Like as far as, it's like, because when you're dealing with Earth, you're looking at the reality of it. So this is you having to kind of restructure things. You know, it's like a restructuring of how you see, feel, and what you think about reality as it pertains to you as an individual. And the transformation is you having to embody, you have to step into that role. You know what I'm saying? You have to transform yourself into that space. Like I said before, it's exactly what I was explaining about being ready. And when you decide you're ready, you step up to the occasion. Versus if you play it small all your life, you don't even give your chance to get in the game. You don't give yourself a chance to get in the game because you playing it small. You're too concerned about this and that and the third. So this whole grand Earth trine is saying, hey, you either gonna step into that role or you will now have to be, and I don't want to make it so absolute because there's many ways this can kind of branch off, you know, and it's not about trying to put too much pressure on you, but it's saying you either ready or you not. You either gonna step into that role or you're gonna have to do more work. And if you're in a space you got to do more work, again, everybody in different spaces. I'm in a certain age where things is different than say somebody watching this at 16 or 15. So don't, when I'm saying these things, don't think it's the end all be all in your life. You know, sometimes doing more work is not bad. If you in a space where and see, the thing about it is, this is the type of transit that, let's say you are on the end of, you see what you want to embody in the role you want to step into, and you got to do more work. If you even if you older, depending on your circumstance and what you're going through life, like doing more work might just be necessary. Like it might need to be more things that you have to build on and have to deal with that will eventually get you where you're going. Because again, transits, these things gonna go on forever. There's always gonna be another transit. So it's like it's always another transition, another opportunity, another square, another learning process, another gift, another shift. Something always gonna be something for you to maneuver. So try not to get too hard on yourself either. But this is one of those times where if you are ready, then this is you choosing yourself. This is you putting yourself in that position, and what's required is you stepping up to that role, to those responsibilities. And what happens is, in this age of Aquarius, like I was saying before, when Pluto gets back into Aquarius, you will be in a space of authority, even if part of you being in a space of authority is being a supreme, just being support for somebody else's goal. You know what I'm saying? But it's the way you do it that matters, because you live in a simple life and just supporting somebody else, or just a quiet life to yourself and shit like that. You might not give a fuck about none of this, anybody online, and the way you give support in your actual life, depending on what area of your life you have these energies in, you will be able to be respected in a certain way that others who didn't step into a certain role that they wanted to step into might not be able to access. They might have to go through a little bit more of frustration, restriction, in the sense of not having the association, the network, or the know-how of who to talk to and how to talk to them to get where they want to go. Because that's an important part too about networking. Sometimes you don't know how or who to talk to. You don't know who to talk to, and you might know who to talk to, but you might not know how to get in a good conversation with them. That's a skill thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about just network. You got to know how to network. A lot of people don't know how to network. It's steps to this shit. Who got, this person got all the ideas and opportunity, but you don't know what to say to get to that conversation. So yeah, you can make a million cold calls, but if you don't know how to make the sale, you ain't gonna make the sale. So, and that's part of life, like just being aware of, like, damn, well, I need to learn a little bit more. Just the whole point is, that's why they say the only way you could fail is if you quit. Just don't stop. It's gonna seem like, damn, like I should quit, nothing's working, but it's like it's always gonna be another thing. The biggest misconception of life is that there's a win situation. They got everybody hooked on retirement mentality. One day I can retire and I can walk away from all this. That doesn't exist. I mean, there's things you can do that, you can put yourself in a situation where you don't got to do what you previously did as much and shit like that. And yeah, retirement is a thing, but it's like, it's going to be more life to live though. And with life comes trials and tribulations, just what it is. But your awareness is determining what you do to maneuver that. You feel me? It's like what your awareness is how you able to work with what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So, that's just how it is. So you got to keep that in mind for yourself. Everything we go through is like, it might, and it gets daunting. But see, that's why even community is important, because when you got people around you, it's like you realize you're really not alone, regardless. That's the reason why, like, if you got people around you going through similar things, then one, I'm not crazy. Two, shit, I'm not alone. Three, damn, if we start working together, we might just be able to overcome this situation, because teamwork makes the dream work. That's how it's supposed to work as far as like a ideology system. Like, holy shit, okay, there's people around me who think and feel like me. Okay, damn, okay, I don't have to feel so by myself. Okay, we in this together. Damn, okay, we can come up with a plan and a system to start to make this shit a little better. And that's the whole goal. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, what else we got? We talked about Aries, we talked about Taurus, we talked about Gemini, we talked about Cancer, we talked about Leo, nothing in Leo, Virgo itself, new moon conjunct. I mean, we know that the sun. It's time to act on how we want to fill the cup. Let's see. And then what? Libra. One thing about Lilith is dancing in between Libra and Virgo right now. So Lilith being so close to the sun and dancing around in that area in space, it seems like everything right now seems a lot more scary and vulnerable than it really even is. So you just got to keep that in mind. Everything is amplified as far as what you're worried about. Everything is a little amplified as far as what you feel vulnerable and maybe potentially embarrassed about. And it's like, I don't want to say it's not that deep, but it's not that deep. It's like it's your mind playing tricks on you. So like I said before, when you get them whispers and shit, like whatever you decided to do, I'm gonna do it anyway, because all these words, everybody's something to say regardless. And when I say everybody, I mean you always gonna have another thought to go against whatever positive thought you have. There's always gonna be another thought. There's always gonna be another feeling. You just got to know what you trying to do and commit to doing that regardless of what's going on in here. Because the mind right now, Mercury gets into Virgo, remember, it's altered there. So our mind is, I wouldn't be surprised if everybody's head grew 2 inches after Virgo season ended, because the mind is crazy right now. Everything on your mind. You think you can think about everything. You think you can really perceive every single step and idea, and the thing is, you just can't. That's what Pisces reminds Virgo. It's like you just can't predict everything. So let God do something. Let God work with it. So because it's beyond you. Is at certain times I'll be having to say that shit beyond me. I can only think of what I can think about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some things is like and it's be people too. Some people want certain things on your mind that it's just beyond you. Like that's what you thinking about. I can only think about certain shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you said Lilith is feminine, right? So what is masculine? So Lilith is one of those things that's like, it's more like a space. It's more like a, it's more like a shadow in a sense. So like, it's not really, how the people talk about it, you would think like, oh, it's like the moon and the sun, like the moon being a reflection of the sun. But in a lot of ways, Lilith plays out more like a shadow. So it's more like a space of, it's almost like if the moon was split, like if the moon had 2 sides, Lilith would be like the dark side of the moon, like in a sense. I don't want to get confusing because how I'm explaining it is probably not how it literally is, but energetically or spiritually, it's more like it's another side to the feminine. So it's the feminine principle, but it's another side of the feminine. It's not really something to be completely reflected, in a sense. Almost, I don't want to say that because that could get confusing. But I'll throw it out there, right? If you were to look at Lilith and say what could possibly be on the other side of that, I would say maybe Pluto or something like that, in a sense, because Pluto to me, it's transformation that you can somewhat see. And Lilith and Pluto, like if you would think of like couples that came to a party, like if all the planets was in couples and they came to a party, the sun and the moon, you know what I'm saying, Adam and Eve, but then there'd be like Lilith and Pluto, you know what I'm saying, Lilith and Pluto, not even Mars, it'd be Lilith and Pluto, like, so it's almost like Lilith and Pluto. Like if I were to play out a scenario, it'd be like there was Adam and Eve, right? Or there was Adam and Lilith at first or something like that. And Adam was attracted to Lilith, but Lilith was a little too strong in that feminine for Adam. Adam got a little scared and started drifting off and get uninterested, and then started getting attracted to Eve, which is more of a baseline feminine. So Lilith was like, what the fuck? And so Lilith started to be like, wait, hold on, what? Lilith went all the way to the extreme, being like very dark feminine now, like, man, all niggas is like this and all this. And then here came Pluto, and Pluto was like an actual representation of like how deep felt about that betrayal. But Pluto was like, I done been there, done that, and Pluto was able to match Lilith on that, like match they, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say that, but match they freak, you know what I'm saying? Pluto was like, I know what life really is. I know what death really is. And Lilith was like, oh, this is that dark masculine that I can actually trust and believe. And so, you know, if they was in a party, like it'd be Adam and Eve, and then it'd be Pluto and Lilith, you know what I'm saying? Type shit. That's the, and then I'm speaking purely from just creative, esoteric, spiritual speculation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right? Just pure spiritual speculation. But if I was to explain the story, that's how I would explain it. He said, you know, yeah, that in between. Right. Exactly. Because the actual story is something to that degree of like Adam was with Lilith and then it just didn't work out. A little too, y'all know, like a little too crazy. He was like, oh shit, no, I need a normal housewife. I need a normal, you know, I need a, you know, but Pluto came around and was the only strong masculine that could match Lilith because of how extreme Lilith was trying to go. But that's the difference, you know what I'm saying? But with Lilith here though, it's just next to the sun dancing, and Libra and Virgo, everything we work on feel like the wrong thing. Everything we relate to feel like the wrong thing, especially Lilith being close to Venus as well. So Ishtar, yeah, kind of like that. Like if yeah, because I can't recall the actual story, but from what I think I remember, yeah, something similar to Ishtar. Like if we talk about that space, yeah. But yeah, Lilith make it's like everything we relate to, everything we appreciate and value is being tested in a sense too. You know what I'm saying? Tested in the senses we asking ourselves, like, you know, what if what I value doesn't give me balance and harmony? We kind of like concerned about that. Lilith in like Libra and Virgo, it's almost like all constantly questioning the worth of either what I'm given or what I'm working on. So not to get too caught up in like the worth of it and question, you know, you got into it for a reason. So if it's actually something true and it's something real and something you want to keep with you, then, you know, you have to fight against that Lilith and kind of jump into that space of being like, well, again, the results will speak for themselves and I trust my capability. Let's see how hot this is getting. Okay, yeah. And what else? Yeah, Capricorn, kind of talked about that new moon trine Pluto. This is where we new moon trine Pluto, like this is where we can commit to the transformation finally. He said Lilith is like living with no fear of the unknown, right? When you face Lilith, it's like it's basically you living a life of no fear of embarrassment. Because that's what Lilith, so it's almost like Lilith is the reason why you choose not to do something that you really want to do, that you know is right for you. Like wherever your Lilith is, you second guess your natural abilities in that area because you don't want to be embarrassed. But we know sometimes like your greatest talent hide behind what you afraid to do, what you embarrassed to do. So it's kind of like that. Like Lilith is almost like when you face Lilith, you face your fears. And you, again, whenever you as a spirit overcome your fear, this is like one of the most places you could be in, because you set yourself automatically from 98% of the world, every whole world acting in survival mode and based off fear. So you doing that alone already puts you in a space to receive a lot more. But the thing is, it comes with vulnerability. But we know when you have vulnerability into an ego, you powerful as hell. Versus the other way around, Lilith would have you turn your ego into a shield. So no one will ever know the true you. No one will ever really connect to you, and you won't feel connected to anyone because of that barrier, which is the ego. And then if you go too far in that ego, you act out of character in ways that you create a bunch of things in your life that show you the same energy you suspect everyone of. Going back to what I was saying in the beginning, where now because you so much in your ego, you can't trust nobody around you because you think everybody else is in their ego, aka giving a mask, aka manipulating you, aka doing something you can't be aware of, aka doing something to harm you. Because the ego is what we use as a shield and sword to fight and be an individual from people that we don't want to connect to. Vulnerability is how we bring people close. That's why when we talk about vulnerability, that's the only way a real relationship can flourish. Because if we're not vulnerable, the vulnerability is what makes me know you, and vice versa. And it's that trust that's being built. When you're too much in your ego, you cut off the ability for that trust to be developed. And whenever you're not building trust, you're it's low-key deteriorating. You're getting further away. So that's why love in all aspects is a choice, because it's not until you choose it and you purposely put into practice the act of sharing vulnerability and exchanging closeness, um then when it comes to my bad, how about now? Should be able to now. Right. Manipulation, yeah, right, exactly. Defense mechanism. Again, a lot of that stuff, it just be out of fear, you know what I'm saying, which is understandable, because the way the world is like, it's all over the place. So nobody know what to trust, nobody know what to feel, and that's what it becomes. Now going further, when we talk about yeah, new moon trining Pluto, that's what I was saying. It's like, this is the time to enact these transformations and get the ball rolling. So, embrace it with embrace it with, I'll just say, vigor. Like, get up in there and, like, it's time. You know what I'm saying? Time is now. So if you are, or if you feel as though you're ready, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Because these are the times in which it matters the most. This is right before, this is the harvest. So this is where we gathering everything and we getting all the things we need, and we just got to go for it. Put your head down, trust your capabilities, and have faith that the results are going to speak for themselves. Main thing. And right now it's just cleaning up the closet. You know what I'm saying? He said Pluto was Prince. Yeah, he had that symbol. It's a dope symbol. The artist formerly known as Prince. That shit was hard. I might change my name to just a symbol. That was some of the hardest that was ever done that an artist could ever do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Yep. So yeah, and then with Aquarius, nothing in Aquarius, Pisces already. So that's about everything. I appreciate y'all. Much love. Thank y'all for coming through. Highly grateful. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we expanding shit, we getting shit polished, we cleaning things up. And again, if you're looking to get a reading for right now, hit me up on 717conference.info@gmail.com. Do a reading, consultation, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Much love to y'all. Shout out to everybody who came through, and I will catch you on the next one. Also, be on the lookout for the women's East on October 21st. Go ahead and, again, send us an email, and then we can give you all the information so y'all can get y'all signups. And if anything, y'all can go on the 717 page, and I believe we have a sign up in the bio, but email me directly, or Jackie New, Shine in the Darkness, Stargirl, Free, the Hanged Empress. I hope I said it right. Jade, Jade. So go ahead, hit them up. If directly, if y'all have a connection with them, y'all can hit me up. Just make sure y'all get y'all butts in them classes. Much love. Catch y'all next time.